Welcome to More Details, Please, with your hosts Emmanuel and Angela Williams, where we dive deeper into conversations with visionary entrepreneurs to discover what it takes to turn passion into purpose. Listen to real-world stories from self-starters and trailblazers, and discover strategies and innovations shaping a greener future. Whether you are a seasoned business person or just starting out, let this be your go-to resource for inspiration and actionable tips for success. Join us now as we create a brighter, greener future together.
Hello, and welcome to our latest episode of More Details, Please, where we go deeper into entrepreneurship and learn more and more from the heart. So, Emmanuel, let's hear from you.
Well, first of all, I always want to thank you for your presence and an opportunity for us to share our 20 plus years of experience with the listeners and entrepreneurs who are interested in becoming an entrepreneur. More detail, please, is very important because when we want to go deeper, and I believe that's the solution to a lot of the problems that we're having, is to go beneath the surface and try to figure out the root causes of what is going on. And so that's the reason why we say more detail, please. And this podcast is really about entrepreneurs turning their passion into purpose. I truly believe that is, may sound strange, but I believe that is a huge part of healing the planet, because the planet is really, really sick. And when I say the planet is sick, it's sick with negativity. It's really, really sick with negativity. And so we as entrepreneurs, when we are able to bring our gifts and our talents and our abilities to the forefront and build a life around entrepreneurship, that is a huge part of bringing the positivity vibration into the universe to overcome the negativity. So I am excited about the conversations that we have. We always try to go deeper because I realize that is where a lot of the solutions are when it comes to disentangling the situations and problems that we're dealing with when it comes to being an entrepreneur.
So let's jump straight into it, because today the time to act is now. Yes, we're talking about future-proofing your business, and there is no time to waste. So we've been in business over 23 years, and we've learned some strategies along the way. So we'd like to share those with you to help you stay stronger, longer throughout the next phase of your business. So the first discussion what is future-proofing your business? What is that, Emmanuel?
I think future-proofing your business, and I don't want to use the cliche of future-proofing. I want to give you an example. Future-proofing your business is really preparing for your life journey. And just like in your career, I think you should future-proof your career, because you're going to need to understand where you're going, how you're going to get there, and when you get there, what is the next thing that is in line for you to pursue. And it takes preparation. It takes foresight, your ability to be able to see the future, and it takes insight, your ability to be able to try to understand how to get to where you're trying to go. And I think that is a very important quality, because a lot of people are just reactive and they don't think about tomorrow. And, we in this podcast, we really talk about time. And when you think about future-proofing your business, you're looking at, in the future, what is it that you're going to put in place to be able to build a better future and to do what's next in terms of whatever it is that you want to do in your future. And it's really important to understand the dynamics of time when it comes to that, because it takes time to build your future. It takes time to put strategies in place. It takes time to try to figure out your team members and how you're going to be able to put strategies in place to be able to get to where you got to go. But it takes no time to be present. It takes no time to be creative. It takes no time to be able to be in a present moment to try to come up with the creative solutions and ideas to prepare for the future. So,
Yeah, you want to stay competitive. I'm sorry. That whole thing, future proofing, that is a tongue twister just a bit, but you definitely want to stay competitive and you don't want to be left behind because before you know it, tomorrow's running faster than you think. So just like with life and business is the same, you got to take strategic steps today because the time to act is now. You have to provide and think through the future now because that's the only way you're going to strive and survive in business because challenges comes fast. Today, this morning, one of our vehicles had a flat tire. I mean, literally, the tire rolled past the van. When we saw the tire, I am grateful that we took extra care and the technicians were safe and sound. But planning for the future helps you know that things are going to happen, challenges are going to happen, but you can move forward even when those things happen.
well, another, I think, principle when it comes to strategizing and planning for the future is realizing impermanence. Because the most permanent thing that we can experience in this life is impermanence. Things are going to change. Situations is going to change. Circumstances is going to change. And so a strategy is when you so attached to whatever it is that you're dealing with that you don't create space to realize that things are going to change, then that's where a lot of the root causes of our suffering and our unconscious decision making come from.
And those things could be economical, technological, environmental, social, societal. I mean, there's lots of things that can change all the time. So let's dive deeper into the details and how you can future proof your business. People. We start with people because we're a people first person. We often say people, planet, and profit.
Well, when you look at Detail Expert and the way that we positioned ourselves for the future, what we decided and what was really important for me was I had to figure out what is it that is going to be a constant demand and people is going to always need. And what is it when you look towards the future that the world is going to be depleted of? And water. I said, you know what? If I can figure out a way to provide services using less water in the industry that uses tons of water, then I will be able to prepare for the future of our company because that's going to always be in demand. So my first step in terms of preparing for the future when it comes to Detail Expert, and which was a really, I think, critical decision-making process, was our focus was on water. Water is a precious resource. We're going to always need it, and we can't live without it.
Yeah, so definitely focusing on people and focusing on the planet is important. Let's talk about people for a second. The one thing about the people focus is you never know what resources that you're going to need when you're starting off your business. Your focus may primarily be on you and what you can do. But you have to grow beyond just what you can do if you want to scale the business. Some people don't want to scale the business, but if you choose to scale the business, you want to invest in people and you want to invest in their training. I can remember when we first started our car wash service in the Detroit area, we had a very important team member, Mr. Green. And Mr. Green was one of those individuals that he can make a conversation or befriend anyone. He just had a way with people. He was the old school. He believed that person to person, face to face conversation is how you build lasting relationships. And that's exactly how we were able to open up operations at different parking garages, country clubs, etc., because of those relationships. So I think that it's important to understand that investing in people and investing in even your own training is what helps you become a stronger, scalable business.
And another thing that I think was very important for us to scale is that we was able to connect with the right people. These were like Mr. Green. He was a very experienced salesperson. So he knew how to knock on doors. He knew how to position himself to sell his product. He knew how to study the product that he was selling so that he can be an effective salesperson. Another person that helped prepare us for the future when it comes to somebody who had experience in the industry that helped us to prepare for the future is Bob Purtle. Bob Purtle was a professional. He had 40 years in franchising. And I am so grateful that he understood a lot of the things that we didn't going into franchising. So he was able to build a foundation for us just in case something were to happen or the economy change or any shift in the future, that we had something to fall back on.
Yeah, so people are one of the most important assets you can have to future proof your business. And those people include you. But you definitely want to look at bringing others into the fold to help scale the business. Emmanuel mentioned earlier about sustainability. We focused on something that was a unique selling point for us in the car washing industry, which uses lots of water just for the basic car wash. We decided that we wanted to have an eco-friendly solution. We wanted to make sure we use less water, and utilizing the power of steam took it to the next level. Right, Emmanuel?
It did. And this is the thing that I was really, really excited about, because there were several features of us developing Detail Expert that helped to keep us in business all of these years. And number one, we tapped into an industry that people didn't want to deal with. We tapped into an industry where if you didn't have nothing else to do with your life, you go work at a car wash. Number two, we tapped into an industry where water, we was able to create a solution in the car washing industry for water, because water is a precious resource. And with 2 gallons of water, we can clean as many as 15 cars. What about that? So we was able to solve a lot of the issues when it comes to water conservation, water regulations, water rules, and things of that nature. So that put us in a unique position to market and sell our services. The third thing is that we was able to take this industry and create a way where people with degrees and college educated will be really, really excited to get into, because it is even though we're going into a technological industry, there's going to always be opportunity for manual labor. And a lot of times, there's a lot of people who's not really technical, but they like using their hands. They like working. They like getting out. So there is a place in our society, even though we're dealing with a lot of technical advances, there is always going to be a market for people who just like to get out and go work. So we was able to tap into all of those different industries, and then we was able to sell it.
Right. So the exciting part about future proofing your business is find something that is planet friendly about your business, or that you can incorporate as a unique selling proposition in your business. But act now. The time to act is now. Now, understanding what your customers needs are is also important. We offer the mobility, the convenience of coming to the customer. Now, we know that it is busy professionals all over the place. I'm busy. Everybody's busy. So it's one of those things where it's important that you can offer a service or offer convenience. And one of the services that we offered in our business for the convenience of others is we would actually go mobile to them.
Yeah, that was huge. And not only were we able to go mobile, we had the ability and the autonomy to set up in hotels and restaurants and country clubs and parking facilities. And they felt comfortable because they knew that, first of all, the way we was dressed white shirts with bow ties. We was dressed like a high-end concierge. And they didn't have to worry about water running all over or dealing with water restrictions and things of that nature. So we made it really easy for our customer in a way that we positioned ourselves to provide a needed service or a value added service that will not only help the customers and provide a great service for the customers, but also enhance the business that we coupled with and we joined, because a happy customer creates them coming back. And so when we dealt with parking lots and hotels and things of that nature, we created an experience to make clients come back to that company.
So I'd say what's most important is pay attention to your customer, not just what they say they need today, but what they might need tomorrow. And a lot of that sometimes is you have to listen to the younger generation because they have a lot to say. And it is one of those things where you can actually be ahead of the game just because you listen to what they have to say. After all, our business came from an 8-year-old's mouth.
Well, I tell you, this is another thing that I find really interesting about this topic is that, a lot of times we can get so caught up into the future that we lose ourselves. A lot of times it's great to future proof your business, but if you are so attached to the outcome and you're not aware of how you're going to get there, that could be a very dangerous situation for you. Because in everything that you do, the end justifies the means. If you're trying to get to, trying to future proof your company through scandals and being evil and being under pressure and creating misery for your employees and all of those negative things, when you get there, if you get there, you're going to create the same situation. So it's really, really important as you futurize your business to make sure that the how is very important and the why is very important, because that is really about entrepreneurs turning their passion into purpose. And that's why we always talk about the very foundation of future proofing your business is find something that you enjoy and you have a passion for.
Yeah, so transparency is important. And as Emmanuel said, running an ethical business, you want to do the right thing even when nobody's watching. Personalizing it is important as well. It has to be individual. So it's not a one thing works for everybody, because that's not the case. You want to personalize it because it's important. The greener option really, it is one of those things where it's like people could have thought it's a fad. But we find that more and more it is something that's here today. Now, the interesting thing is it's not going away. So hold on, finding more efficient ways to do things is always going to be in vogue. So recognize what your customers need, make your adjustments now, and focus so that you can have a customer not only for today, but for years to come.
And future proofing your business is also like preparing for retirement. You'll work in an industry for 30 years and you constantly planning, hopefully you're constantly planning on retirement. And retirement is really important and future proofing your business is really important because if you don't have a plan to go beyond when you finish your business, then you'll find yourself stuck and stagnated. For an example, you have a lot of people that works 30 years, 40 years, prepare for retirement. And then once they get into retirement, they don't have a plan. And what they do is they sit in front of the TV all day and then they kind of lose themselves. The health start going bad and all kinds of things just start to happen. So we as human beings, as individuals, you got to understand that nothing is permanent. And you got to have your exit strategy to say, if once I get to a point where I am getting ready to make my transition from this business to maybe another business, or I'm going to do something different, or I'm going to do voluntary work, or whatever it is, plan for that. Because it's not only a physical change, but it's a psychological and spiritual change as well. Because a lot of people, when they retire, a lot of them really die because that has been their life and they have no more will to do anything else. But preparing your company for future proofing, that is also something that you definitely have to consider.
So the time now, you want to act now. Some tips for recognizing what your customers need is communicate with them. Communicate as often as possible. We started with our monthly newsletter, and it's so funny. I have to remind customers. So even though we've expanded to different states and different countries, we're still local. So you have to communicate regularly and let customers know that you're still there, even while you're expanding. And you want to ask for feedback regularly. We do courtesy calls and follow-up calls because we want to hear from the client what they experience, how they experience. Yesterday, I actually talked to a new client, and it happens to be a client that we are a client of, meaning we purchase product from that person. The owner noticed that we were there picking up some product and said, "Hey, I need to get my car done and my wife's vehicle done." And we did it. He loved the service. He said, in fact, you offered a better service at a slightly lower price than I had just had it done recently. And I get my personal vehicles done all the time. And what he said is, I have lots of company vehicles as well. So I would love to have you be my go-to company for my company vehicles too. So having those discussions is important. So getting that feedback and being curious. This podcast is one of our ways of being curious. This is how we want to know what topics you like to discuss, what are the trends, what are our reviews saying. And a lot of what we found in our business is we have been in business for a very long time, but usually Emmanuel and I are in the background of the business. We decided that utilizing this podcast as a vehicle, we're able to come to the forefront. But then you want to test small changes. You don't want to do too much too fast. You want to make sure you test those changes as you go, right, Emmanuel?
Absolutely. Well, just to give you an example, even though you plan, you're going to still have to be open enough to be able to make adjustments. And Angela and I have been in business. When you look at the last 20 something years that we've been in business together, it's interesting how I think the current events of what happened in this country over the last 100 years, have experienced some very, very unique situations being a business owner. Number one, the 2008 economic crash. We experienced that. You know, and when you talk about preparing and planning for the future, we are experts in maneuvering and trying to figure out how to get beyond this barrier and stay in business and continue to stay relevant when the total whole economy has crashed. We have been able to overcome that. That is a testament to preparing for the future. And then the next thing that happened was COVID. When COVID hit, and you talk about preparing for your future and putting systems and processes and having the right people in place, but at the same time, you have to create space to be creative. You have to create space to be able to assess and have insight and have foresight. It's important to have a team. We do a lot of deep work drills where we just take time and we focus and we go into a quiet space and a quiet place so that we can listen to what God is trying to tell us and listen to the creative powers inside of us. And that has been, I mean, it's really, really effective. And I know a lot of people want us to give them the answer so that they can take the answer and go apply it. But the answer is inside of you. The answer to everything that you need is inside of you, even to the point of when it's time to pack it up and leave or do something different. That is also a part of strategy and planning. So when it comes to us preparing for the future, Angela and I, in this day and time, over the last 20 years, we have been able to overcome a lot of the catastrophes that happened in our country. And this is the thing, our model is different from when we first started to what it is now. So we had to pivot. We had to try to figure out how to utilize what we already have to be more relevant and to tap into another client base.
Preparing for uncertainties, how do you really do that? The fact is you have to, and as Emmanuel said, in 2008, 2008, that's when we launched the business. So we launched the franchise system portion of our business in 2008. And we talk about on another podcast, launching the business, when is the right time, knowing the right moment to launch. Some may say that wasn't a great time to launch. And we would argue with you and say that was the best time to launch. We were able to launch with all of that uncertainty. And as we were in the midst of scaling the business, going deeper internationally, that's when COVID hit. So it's interesting that we have experienced that uncertainty, not only when we were ready to launch the business, but as we were scaling the business. And you know what? More uncertainty will come. We have no idea what is coming next. We just have to be ready for it. So it could be shifts in environmental regulations or a tightening of our supplier chain. All of that, we have to be anticipating and be ahead of the game. So we want to make sure that we are preparing for the uncertainties, but not worrying about it, but definitely preparing for those uncertainties. Right, Emmanuel?
Absolutely, because what we do is we have this tool box, and we call it Nuggets of Wisdom Toolbox. And we have these nuggets of wisdom and their tools that we use and we plug in and we apply to help us. And one of the tools that is in our Nugget of Wisdom tool chest is joy. We use joy. That is a very powerful tool that we use, and joy is free. You don't have to pay anything, and you can't put a price tag on it. So those of you who said, I don't have the money to get into business or I don't have the resources, yes, you do. Yes, you do. You got principles and that we're trying to teach you. And the reason why I came up, I'm talking about joy is this. The reason why a lot of people suffer is because they lose their joy. The reason why a lot of people stop liking their business or stop liking whatever it is that they're doing to make a living is because they lose their joy. And it's really important not to lose your joy. And the way that you lose your joy is, and we're talking about planning for the future, is you are so attached to what you believe is the outcome is going to be that you're not focusing on what is. So for an example, if you are so attached to, I want to make my business grow in this particular way, and you got the economy, you got technology, you got all of these other things that's changing. And you don't want to acknowledge that because you're so stuck on doing things one particular way, you're not accepting what is. Because what is what is. When you accept what is, that things are changing, but you want to consistently in your mind say, I want to do it this way, that's resistance. That's where suffering is. That's where you lose your joy. But when you're able to be aware and present enough to be able to say, you know what, I'm getting older. That's just a part of life. Things happen. My body changed. So I can't do the things that I used to do the way that I used to do them when I can't get up and go run 10 miles like I used to when I was 20 and I'm 60. And so if you get so focused on attachment to the outcome, like how you want things to be, when the reality is that things are constantly changing because things are always impermanent, then that's where you lose your joy, and that's where a lot of the suffering sets in because you're in resistance to what is.
Yeah, definitely. It is what it is. Technology is what it is too. That is yet another way to future proof your business. You have to make sure you stay up on technology. And I will tell you that I am not necessarily one that is the first on the bleeding edge of technology. I usually just tiptoe my way into it. Not because I'm scared or it's scary. I just really like to understand the technology before I completely move into it. And I'll tell you, one of the things is social media. I am on social media because I have to be on social media. If you would ask me my druthers, I would tell you I need to take breaks from social media. So therefore, I am a little on and off. But it's one of those things where it is a part of where the future is heading. It helps you future proof your business. It allows you to connect with even more individuals in a social space. So definitely technology matters. In addition to developing technological tools. I mean, we're all about innovation at DetailXPerts. So that's everything from our steam cleaning equipment to creating a mobile booking tool, a scheduling tool, those things that could take your entire operation and put it in a palm of your hand. The idea that you could utilize technology to move your business forward and be more efficient and more effective, that is definitely the way to go. We believe that so much that it is in our vision of where we see ourselves in the next few years, really offering technological solutions in this place. So remember that our customers are most important, and we got to figure out what they need tomorrow. They might not know it yet. They may have said, hey, I need the convenience. When I need something, I need it right now. And I need to be able to get in touch with you real time. Utilizing a mobile app and those type of things allow you to do that. In fact, we'll be launching or relaunching a brand new mobile app. This will also be kin to our online booking system, which we think customers really love.
As a business owner, keep this in mind. One of the things that I admire about Henry Ford was that he was smart enough to realize that he was not the smartest one in the room. When you believe that you're the smartest one in the room, you're in the wrong room. and you're not going to grow. So for me, what I understood early on in this business is that I have my weaknesses and I have my strength. And I have to be wise enough and have enough insight and foresight enough to know who to put around me. And those people that I put around me are people that is strong where I am weak. Because you can't do it all by yourself. I mean, you can, but you gotta have you have to realize that the only way that you're gonna do it is you have to have a certain business model. If you're a one-man show, then that's fine. You're an entrepreneur, that's great. But if you're a one-man show, realize that that's what you are. And there are certain limitations to that. But if you want to you can't be an international company in a one-man show. That's what I mean when it comes to resistance in I wanted certain things to happen in a particular way, but this is what my reality is. That's where the suffering is. And so it's really important as you grow and prepare for the future. Angela is the total opposite for me. It's really interesting because a lot of people say, well, like-minded people need to come together. Yeah, you can be like-minded and you can come together, but you got to have somebody that is strong where you're not as strong, and you have to be strong with other people where they're not as strong. And I think that's our asset because she enjoys doing what I don't like doing. And I give you an example, and this is how I knew that Angela was the woman for me. I used to hate to open up my mail. I mean, I just open up my mail and I just see bills. I'm like, I don't like opening up my mail. I don't even like looking at my mail at one point. And when I met Angela, she was like, "Well, hey, baby, I'm going on my way to the post office." And I'm listening to her on the phone, and it's like, you've been saying that a lot lately. Like, okay, you had on your way to the post office. And then I'll be on the phone with her. She just in the post office and reading stuff. And I mean, I'm thinking you're gonna just go pick up what you need to pick up and leave. No, it was like a trip to the library. So I realized that, you know what? This is the woman for me because I hate opening up my mail, but I love looking at checks. She loved opening up mail and looking at bills and paying the bill. And that is just an example of where I'm weak or what I don't like, she loves. So I'm like, great. This is really, really this is a match made in heaven. So that's just kind of an example of making sure that you realize that you're not the smartest one in the room. And then if you believe that you're the smartest one in the room, every time you go into every room, then you stagnate in your growth.
You are really making me laugh. I am trying not to cry because that was funny. But business management systems, which automate those repetitive tasks, no, it's not going to open up the mail and pay the bills for you, but it definitely makes keeping track of the bills and paying them on time important. And tracking inventory, all of those things, which free you up to focus more on strategy. Leave the tactics to a business system or tool, a process. That's what really a franchise system is all about, a proven system or process. So you can focus on strategy and customer service, which are the key. That is quite honestly where humans excel. Humans excel when dealing with other individuals. So having those discussions is fun. And that's not always at the post office.
Well, no, I tell you this, even to this day, when the mail come, I don't open up the other mail. I just open up the check. I'm like, Angie, the mail is here. Here go the checks, and here go the other mail. I'm not opening up that.
As sad as that sounds, it is true. So the big question out there for our listeners is, how do you strengthen risk management? And this is especially important for small businesses because you can be blindsided. I'm going to say things like cybersecurity. We didn't talk about that, but making sure that you are prepared for cybersecurity, or if there is someone that is using human tools to get information about your business, not to mention that your technology needs to be secure as well. So what are you doing to manage the risk for uncertainty overall? I'd say we talked about a lot today. And here are some nuggets just to sum it up. If future-proofing your business, it's a very big conversation, but what's most important, it isn't about predicting the future. That's not it. It's not about worrying about the future. It is about preparing for it. So think of it as a series of small, intentional decisions. If you focus on the details, that's what matters, and you'll be ready for whatever is next.
Well, in closing this podcast, I just always want to say this. It definitely takes time to have a business plan. It takes time to execute your business plan. It takes time to do all of the things that you need to do to allow your business to develop and grow and to be the type of company that you want it to be. But it takes no time to be present enough to meditate, to be creative, and to allow that space to be a part of yourself and to help you to make the decisions that is so important as you unfold and to go into your business and to do the things you need to do in order for your business to be healthy and grow strong.
So don't get overwhelmed. I know it sounds like it's a lot to do, but the time to act is now. You want to build your business piece by piece into a bright future. And the way you do that is one bite at a time. There's lots of things that we went over today, but you don't have to do them all at the same time. One thing at a time, and you're free to listen to this podcast again so that you can understand the things that we've done in our business and what we're suggesting for you. Leave us a review and don't forget to subscribe and never miss an episode. Emmanuel, until next time, keep the entrepreneur dream alive. Wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
Make your passion into your purpose.
Thank you for listening to More Details, Please, presented by Emmanuel and Angela Williams from DetailXPerts, the mobile steam cleaning company dedicated to protecting the planet. Be sure to subscribe to More Details, Please on your favorite podcast platform. You can also follow us on Facebook at DetailXperts and visit DetailXperts.net. That's DetailXperts.net. We hope you've gained some valuable insights from our conversations today. Stay driven by curiosity, and we'll bring you more details next time.